Welcome to the Author Blurb podcast. I'm your host, Eric Maynard, and this is another review. So this time, I'm here to discuss Patrick Abbott's book, and I don't know if you're listening to this where he only has the first one out, which is Fallen, or as we discussed in his interview, he's working on a second one, but I'm here to discuss it. I just finished going through the ebook of it, and I actually found it quite interesting. There's some things in it that kind of had me questioning, wondering. I'd say there's topics there that were discussed that I just am not familiar with, such as dealing with a military person, an ex-person that's no longer in the military. Forgive me, I don't know the term, but the main character has left the military, is dealing with PSTD. And there's a lot involved with that disorder that I have no idea about. Now, as I went through the book, I found it interesting. There were some times that I kind of was on the fence if I really liked the character. I felt he might have been a little too easy to cry at times. But at other times he seemed very confident. And again, they do talk about he feels that between the PSTD that he had and the fact of other events in his life has seriously affected him, these things are causing him to deal with topics in a world that he's just not used to. Now, putting all that aside, I enjoyed the book because it wasn't flying through the galaxy on futuristic. It takes place here on Earth in what I'm assuming is a future of our society where the government is not as strong as it is at this current time, and that the militias in the United States have a strong hold in the states, and the states have their basically more power and more control over their ways of life. Whatever you think about it here and there, I'm not opposed to that thought, but it takes a different view of what our government currently is from how I see it. Now, in the story, you have aliens that have been here a while. They're walking among citizens. They're just exploring. They're tourists. They're negotiating with governments. They're giving stuff that they find to be useful to people of Earth, humans, and to them it's minor little things. One is, if you listen to Patrick and I discuss on his interview, you get a good feeling. I highly suggest to listen to the conversation that him and I have if you have not already read his book. And if you have read his book, listen to the conversation. You get kind of an interesting insight to a lot of things. Now, with it, you find that the main character, and I want to say his name is Brendan, and I am going off memory, and sometimes my memory isn't the greatest. If you listen to the podcast, I make mistakes. I'm fine with that, and it's what I do, but not intentionally. I try to give you the best thing I can, just like this review. I found the ending to the book, and I don't want to give it away to you, but I found it very interesting. I found it to have a twist, a factor that makes me sit there and want to read his next book when it comes out. And now I'm actually waiting for that next book. And I'll be following Patrick to see when that comes out. And hopefully when it does, he comes back on the show. That way I can talk to him about it again, and then we can discuss a bit more about the differences between the first book and then what's coming into the second. And, well, like I said, I enjoyed the book. I found it more of taking aliens from another world who have technology far surpassing what the current human society has, and using that technology for bartering and other things. The main character gets involved in being part of both worlds of the aliens and the humans, and he's trying to do a lot of balancing, negotiating, trying to grow and get over issues that he has with his PSTD, with relationship issues that he keeps having destroy him on trust. I mean, literally, the guy is kind of a mess. Well, not kinda. He is a mess. But in the book, he also has his self together enough that he can negotiate. He can take his military experience with dealing with other nations, other cultures, other people from different countries, and be able to help the connection try to grow, and also build his connection with the alien civilization, or at least the people that are in the earth, or around the earth, I guess you could say. So with that, I find I'm going to suggest for sci-fi lovers that enjoy a good story, and don't need to be Star Wars or be whatever, where you have lots of lightsaber fights and all this, but it's a good old-fashioned story with a good plot to it. And you can almost picture, I'd hate to say it this way, but the human race now finding a culture that is in, say, the Amazon jungle, that is completely shut off and running around with bows and arrows made out of twigs and vines and what so have you. So it takes that and brings a comparison to how that is. With the ending, like I said, I was surprised and didn't fully expect everything that happened. Those are kind of the stories I like, but at the same time, it does leave you waiting for the next book, which is a good thing because you do feel like you want more of the story. Now, I'm going to give you the best I can and the most straightforward answers and reviews on all these books. I like it. There's things in it I didn't like. Like I said, I don't understand PSTD very well. And a bit of the main character, Brennan, he cries quite often through the book. He allows his emotions to get a strong grip on him. And I'm personally not a overly emotional person. That's just not me. Once I got past that, though, the other things I did enjoy. Now, you can find Patrick and I's conversation on the website authorblurb.com. You can find it on hosting services and all these different places where I air the show. And as far as I'm aware, if you're listening to this now, you're probably subscribed to the show, and you can go through your subscription or where you're subscribed now and find him. You can also go to authorblurb.com to find his profile, where this review, if you want to listen or watch it again, and the interview that I had with him will be able to be found. Patrick's a great guy. I suggest you to reach out, look at his website, reach out to him with questions, and get his book. Enjoy it. For sci-fi lovers of not the high racing, high fluting genre, but who wants a sci-fi story where it's two cultures trying to interact and deal with conflicts and things like that, this is the book for you. And in all truth, even people that are not sci-fi fans could actually get into this. Most likely, I'm going to probably give my mom the book as well, so that she can get a chance to read it. I think, well, if she ever has time, I think she would enjoy the storyline as well. So, with that being said, there's my recommendation. Now, take it for what it's worth. This is all my own opinion. I hope it's worth it to you. Remember, go to authorblurb.com. That's where you have the profiles. That's where you have articles that some of these authors that I've interviewed are. You have the reviews. You have everything I'm doing there. All these reviews are going to be strictly for authors who have been on my show. I want to provide something that is worthwhile so that you can relate the things that they say, in my opinion, about the books. I've been lucky enough so far. This will be, I believe, my third review by the time I put this out, that I've enjoyed the books. I haven't yet gone through all my list, and my list is going to keep growing. So hopefully, like I said, you enjoy it. You find it helpful, and it gives you some value to where you find that you want to either get his book, or you sit there and say, you know, I understand you like it, but it doesn't sound like my cup of tea. Either way, you know what I think. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the interviews I do. Enjoy the reviews. Reach out to me. There's an option on the website also where you can leave a voicemail or a voice message, however you want to call it. And it gives you up to 90 seconds to tell me what you think. Ask a question if you have one. I try to give you quite a bit on that website that will allow you to utilize it to get you more information, get you the author and the books that you want to enjoy. That's why I'm doing this. It's all to help the readers and the authors come together because, well, not all the great stories are written by the big authors. And right now, I can tell you, I've gotten some great books from not such huge authors that I've enjoyed. Just like this book, Fallen by Patrick Abbott. Now, enjoy it. If you have any questions, reach out to me. There's time, so, well, hopefully there's plenty of time. So let me know what you think. If you don't want to talk to me with your voice, you can also write a message. You can find me on Twitter. Find me on other different social medias now and then. I'm really not a big social media person, but I try. That being said, thank you. And I'll talk to you at the next either interview or, if you're only listening to the reviews, the next review. So, goodbye.